morning, good morning, good morning. Good morning, everybody. Thank you for joining in today. It is delightful to see each one of you in today's meeting room. My name is Baron Ochola, and we are going to engage further just a bit more in a second. Once again, thank you for joining in, especially for today's session that taps on a very prevalent issue in the times that we live in. Good morning. My name is Baron Ochola. A warm welcome to you to our webinar for AI Opportunities for Business in 2025. We're thrilled to have you today joining us for this insightful session on the ever-evolving landscape of artificial intelligence that is taking the world by storm. Artificial intelligence has the transformative power to change the world, the potential of it, especially in business. Now, one thing we do not want to do is get left behind.
We seem to have lost Baron. Baron, are you there? Okay, Dawoodi, do you mind stepping in as Baron reconnects?
Yes, thank you very much, Bernard. I will step in for Baron. My name is Dawoodi Mugabi. I'm with Global Edge Leaders as well. I'm a facilitator at Global Edge Leaders. And as Baron was saying, this particular topic of AI, I think it's one that's prevalent in today's environment. And we're happy to have Bernard with us to share with us not just what AI is, because at this point, I believe we all know what it is, but rather appreciate its significance and relevance in today's business climate. I'm looking forward to your presentation, Bernard, and I'm sure that we're going to learn quite a number of things. So our inspiration for putting together this particular webinar was the fact that we are all exposed to AI, but not all of us fully appreciate, but also in our business environment. And by having this webinar, we can at least come to terms with what exactly AI's role is in helping us have an effective business environment. And for those of us who are in personal entrepreneurship, and how we can develop ourselves individually. And so at this juncture, I do not want to take up too much of our time. I want to give our presenter enough time to be able to present this topic. And I would like to introduce Bernard, whom I've known for a very long time, as someone that is a tech enthusiast. He's somebody that has been in the technology industry for quite a number of years. He is a member of ISACA, which is known for its dominance in the security and cybersecurity space. Bernard is the director of Syntech Associates, and he has been the director there from 2010, that is 14 years. Prior to that, he was the infrastructure manager at Barclays Bank. And before that, he worked as a security officer in Bank of Africa. So as a member of ISACA, as somebody who has had quite a number of years of experience in the AI and technology world, I would like to welcome Bernard to the floor. Bernard, over to you. Thank you so much for taking us through this particular webinar. We look forward to your presentation. Over to you, Bernard.
Thank you very much, Dawoodi. Good morning once again. Welcome to our audience. Thank you for joining us this morning. And I'm delighted to be sharing on this exciting topic. AI is exciting for many reasons, but I believe one of them is that it's an area that keeps on evolving, an area that keeps on delivering exciting developments each day that passes. And so our job today is to take a look at what's happening and put it in the context of what we can do to gain value out of the resources available, but also to drive our businesses towards more profitability, sustainability, more value, and ensure that we are riding the wave, as it were. So I'm delighted to have this opportunity to share the next few minutes with you. And I'll just share my screen right now, and then we'll kick it off. We'll be using a Slido tool, slido.com, which will allow us to poll the audience and get some feedback from you. So I request that you go to slido.com on your phone or on your device, slido.com, and we just have some feedback from you. I'll give you the code shortly. But as we start, Daudi, kindly confirm that my screen is visible.
Your screen is visible.
All right. Once again, welcome. So today we'll look at a couple of questions or areas, and we'll basically be trying to examine what's happening in the AI space and how to harness that in the context of our businesses. It might be an SME, a micro SME, a non-profit organization, or a commercial enterprise, or even a public sector entity that is interested in getting AI into mainstream productivity, mainstream value add activities. We're going to look at some of those scenarios and see how that can play out. So we'll look at some classic definitions of AI. We'll look at the landscape. We'll also see how people across different industries are using AI. I will look at some trends and opportunities, but also the risks that come with those opportunities and the concerns that we must address. And then we'll end it with a few ideas on how to get started on the AI journey, or even if you're already somewhere along the way, you could have some more ideas on how to move faster or have a more effective engagement with your AI technology. So the first question everybody is going to ask is, what is artificial intelligence? And I think everybody has an idea what it is. And what I'm going to do is to ask you to go to slido.com. That's a tool for polling. Don't fear the QR code. It's not malware. But if you don't trust QR codes like me, you could simply go to slido.com on your browser and you enter the code for our poll today, 1872408. So kindly go to slido.com. I need to see some people on. I haven't seen anybody yet. There's nobody there yet. Slido.com and enter the code 187. Okay, there's Maureen. Maureen, thank you. You could be a prize winner, or you could also be an AI agent. I might not be able to tell the difference. But Maureen, thank you for joining. Okay, there's Maureen Perry. All right. And maybe you could just start answering what comes to mind when you hear the word or the term AI. Okay, for most people, AI equals ChatGPT, and it's very straightforward. I like that. Okay. What comes to mind? I think the poll had an issue. Some people put in their names. Okay, what comes to mind when you hear the term AI? For me, it is machines taking over. Yes, for me, it's machines taking over. Some people it's robots, some people it's automation, anything impossible for humans. I thought it was the other way around. I thought it was machines trying to be like humans and not humans trying to catch up with machines. But thank you for the responses. I think it basically reflects what is in our minds, or what is at the top of our minds. And we'll just move to the next question. Do you think AI will take your job? This is the most urgent question I receive whenever I have such an interaction. Every time we're talking about AI, this is the most urgent question or the favorite question that people propose. And I want to hear from you. 5 people have answered. Can we have maybe 5 more? Okay, do you think AI will take your job? Let me answer. I'm answering anonymously. Okay. Oh, it's a tie. 43% of us think AI will take the job. The same number of people think are very confident they'll retain their jobs. Then there's, I think, 1 or 2 people who are not yet sure. So it's quite interesting. All right, let's get back into it. So basically, AI is a reference to computer systems, servers, programs, software, interconnected robots, whatever it is, any system that's going to be able to perform complex tasks that were traditionally thought of as being reserved for human beings, where you needed somebody to make a judgment or to remember something or to have read and internalized some information and is able to bring it back in the context that you expect. That is the general idea about AI. And of course, we could go into different types of AI, different capabilities of AI, different gradings of AI. Ultimately, the consensus is that this machine, this software, is mimicking human type activities like reasoning, making decisions, or even solving problems at whatever level of proficiency, at whatever level of quality or speed of execution. But there is a sense of this machine or this software or this system trying to mimic a human being. And in some cases, the question is, are you able to differentiate? Are you able to tell that it was a human being that did this or it was a machine? So if a machine is doing something and you cannot for certain or on the surface tell that it was done by a machine, and you can safely assume that it was done by a human being, then that machine is said to be intelligent, or it's said to possess artificial intelligence. Now, the most funny question about AI is going to be when you're trying to sign up and that bot is preventing you from gaming the system, and it asks you to make sure you're a human being. And so that's basically the AI asking us to prove whether we are not a robot or whether we're a human. So it's quite interesting how the tables are turning on that one. So let's just move a bit faster. So essentially, AI is about a couple of technologies that then contribute to us having this functionality where machines can mimic human interaction or human activities. You have the so-called machine learning, which is straightforward, and it's where you develop methods and approaches that allow a computer system to read into large data sets and be able to accumulate that information and give it back to you when you need it in the context of answering a question or solving a problem with the basis of having accumulated a lot of knowledge or a lot of information and giving that back to you quickly in a way that mimics a human being. So think of somebody who goes to school for maybe 15 years, maybe up to university, that could be 18 or 18 years, depending on which country you're in. And then you have that body of knowledge accumulated, all the things you ever studied, all the things you were ever taught. And then you want to have a machine that can also, in a much shorter time, accumulate that information, read all those books, and be able to bring back that information to you when you ask a question, or when you want it to speak to a certain situation. It's able to give it back to you in a way that simulates or approximates what a human being would be able to answer in that situation. So you have the machine learning area. You also have the so-called deep learning, where machines learn and they start to be able to create a very interesting patterns. They start to figure out on their own, beyond what they've been told, based on the information they already know. They can figure out new information and basically close the gaps. So without being taught something, the machine can reinforce and learn more things based on the little information that it has. So that could be a simple definition of deep learning. And then obviously, on the other hand, we have the natural language processing, where you attempt to have a machine or a software that you can communicate with using normal human speech or human words and languages, and it's able to give you the feedback because it's trained to interface or trained to take input from human beings using normal sentences, normal phrases, normal questions, and it's able to process that and give you back feedback in the same format. So looking on the right, you have a number of areas like decision-making, increased accuracy, solving complex problems, and performing high-level computation. All these are part of artificial intelligence, and there's a number of technologies that you can go into deeply. But for today's purposes, we just want to say that artificial intelligence and machine learning are based on data science, are based on machines being fed with huge volumes of data in a way that is efficient and in a way that allows them to bring out the value that we want in terms of decision making, in terms of accuracy when they detect a trend, or when they detect a discrepancy or something that is an outlier within a huge data set, being able to take on complex problem and quickly give you an answer. So you have these age-old mathematical problems that have not been solved ever since mathematics started being developed as a science. And now you have AI models that have been trained and brought to a level where they can be challenged with such problems or such mathematical equations, and they're able to give you a solution within a short time. So we have a lot of opportunities to even go deeper into unknown or unsolved or uncharted territories. But the whole idea is that this is as a result of exposing this software or these systems to huge data sets and allowing them to learn on those data sets, but also to start to figure out newer information based on the information they have been fed as part of their training. So just trying to account for the development of AI technology over the years. So the whole AI trend of technology could be traced to the 1940s as the start of when we had some computers called neural networks, where they kind of were mimicking the human brain and creating associations between 2 points, and to try and figure out something by mimicking the way the neurons in a human brain works. And you have when information is stored or information is learned, 2 neurons make a connection, and it is permanent in a sense that you can come back to that information and find that that learning or that data point was actually registered and was stored, and it's going to be available to you to query, and you'll receive feedback on it. So the whole idea of mimicking the human brain into electronic and computer systems starts in the 1940s. Then in the 1950s, you have the Turing test, where you're basically, you have this concept by Alan Turing, a UK-based computer scientist, who asks a sort of theoretical question and says, if a machine is able to give you an answer and you cannot tell that it was given by a machine, or you can safely assume that it was given to you by a human being, then that machine can be said to be artificially intelligent. So you receive an answer and you cannot for sure know that this is the machine. You can be fooled, or you can safely assume it was given to you by a human being. That's going to be a bit of artificial intelligence. You can then claim or conclude that that software or that machine has artificial intelligence. So fast forward to the 1960s, you have chatbots. There's a first chatbot called Eliza. I've never tried it out. I don't even know what it could do. But the idea of being able to interact with a software and it gives you answers around more human questions or even specific areas, that comes through in the 1960s through a chatbot. Then you have expert systems. Obviously, these are being driven by defense and space technology, where the biggest amount of research and development funding or resources were going into the 1990s. Then fast forward into the 2000s, you have Google coming out strongly. Then you also have Apple and Siri, the personal assistant on your phone, starting to become commercialized or starting to become available to end users on their phones on the go. And then fast forward to the 2020s, 2022, we have ChatGPT making its debut. And as you can say, or as they say, the rest is history. So we are basically living in sort of an accelerated timeline. The amount of progress that was made from the 1940s to maybe where we are right now, that could have been maybe 80 years of R&D. And then suddenly in the 2020s, you have what developments in 3 months that outpace all the 80 years of the previous development. So there's the acceleration or the speed of development of AI is basically astronomical or exponential starting in the 2020s, because you then have enough background information, enough background technology to take these things viral and bring them to every smartphone, every app, every browser, every computer, every internet connected device. So if I look at the box of my TV, it says it is AI powered. My phone has maybe 4 or 5 AI apps. Meta put AI on our Facebook and on our WhatsApp. One morning we didn't have it. The next morning we had it. So you have a lot of AI enabled things going on in the background and in the foreground. So even if you don't use AI, I tell people sometimes it might be that if you're not using AI, it's the AI that's using you. But that's the level of penetration of AI, especially with the large language models and the apps like ChatGPT coming into everybody's smartphone, everybody's laptop, everybody's browser, everybody's internet connected device, whether it's a watch, smartwatch, whether it's a tablet computer, a TV. You have AI becoming universally available, and the business model changes. It stops being something that is being used by defense companies or governments or huge corporations. It then is opened up to retail and end users on a model where it's free for use, and the compromise is how much data you give it and how much value you get out of there. So I'll move fast forward. I think we are still together. All right. So the key technology that is causing a lot of excitement around AI is what is called generative AI. It's that AI where you can prompt it to give you information, text. It can give you photos. It can give you videos in some cases. It can give you things that you can use and paste in a report or post on your status or your timeline or use as a meme. It can support you in day-to-day human activities, whether it's work in the office or entertainment or just questions that you have nowhere to ask. You then have this type of AI, the generative AI, being made available to end users and consumers. Sometimes it's free, sometimes it's paid for. So you might find that the AI in a browser like Edge or Google Chrome, the results that you get can be free, or we could have AI recording and transcribing our call today as we speak, and will give you a transcript, a summary of what we said, or it can take minutes. So there's a whole range of innovation and application around this type of generative AI. This is the AI that is in your face that you can interact with on a day-to-day basis and feel that the AI is telling you something that you didn't know, or it's making your report smarter, or it is brushing up your email so that you can come across as a better communicator, or it is supporting you to figure out things that you have on your phone or on your laptop and you're not so sure about what the data says. So this AI is on the user end, it's on the retail end, it is in the face of the consumers, and then it allows you to have day-to-day applications. Now, the other types of AI still matter because they will be in the background. They will be used by technology companies to solve bigger problems. You may not interface with them, but you benefit from them. And so we are going to be really focusing on generative AI, the ChatGPTs and the Grok and the Gemini and all the other models that we've been able to interact with, including DeepSeek. Those are the AI models that have a shorter time to operationalize, in the sense that they are available, most of them for free. They are available on most devices, whether it's on mobile, on a browser, on a computer system, a fixed computer system. They are in your palm. You can move with them. You can call upon them anytime. You can speak to them using voice, or you can type, or you can feed them a photo, a PDF, or a Word document, and they can answer questions quickly. And some of them are free in the sense that you don't pay for the entry-level features, and perhaps some of them don't even have a paid model, which means that they are making money in a different way. But the whole idea is that they have been available, and the battle between the race and competition between these different AI providers is who will be most appealing to end users, who will be most used on a daily basis by end users. And that's how they're able to conquer the market, and they're able to maintain dominance, and are able to maybe slip in other products, or even just make use of the information that you feed them by asking questions and uploading whatever material you have. That's how they justify the expense of making it available for free. So we're going to just look at the AI landscape and maybe ask how people are using AI and look at some of the trends, then we'll go into the opportunities. So you'll agree with me that it appears that every day there is a new AI startup or there's a new AI model, even when you're looking at an established player like Google or Amazon. They are refining the models that they have available, the large language models that they have available. They are churning them out to improve efficiency, to improve reasoning, to improve speed. So you have a lot of innovation and competition. But this slide kind of puts together the different players and the areas in which they specialize. So you'll have a number of areas, but I'll just speak to a few. So you have what would call the large language models, the closed source models, these ones here. These ones are the most in our face, the OpenAI, GPT-4, Google Bard, which is now called Gemini, ChatGPT, Meta, which is Facebook's parent company. So these are mostly in our face. They are products that have been developed by the dominant internet players, Google, Meta, and in this case, OpenAI has both its own relationship with end users as well as a strategic relationship with Microsoft. So these tend to be the ones that we see on our phones or in our faces every day. But then you also have those who are playing in the background, those who sell to companies on a B2B model. You could have enterprise ML platforms right here, like the Databricks and H2O, Abacus AI. Then you have real data science technology being developed and made available to enterprises and also advanced users. You also have the hardware behind this. And essentially, what happens is that for an AI model to run, you need a really fast processor. And these are specialized processors called GPUs, which traditionally have been used for processing graphics, running intensive graphics processing, whether it's video games or special effects in video development. But those find themselves very useful for running AI models. And so companies like NVIDIA, those of you who are quite keen, you see that NVIDIA now has made a lot of money and continues to be a leading player in this area because they produce the hardware which gives all the other players technological advantage when they deliver an AI model or an AI service. They depend on this hardware in the background to run the intensive processing. And of course, with the hardware, you need power and cooling, and so it's a question of how much electrical power and cooling capacity and data center capacity you have and are able to put out efficiently to make an AI model run. So that's what the landscape looks like. Maybe we'll not go into it very deep, but the idea is that there's a lot of R&D, there's a lot of the value chain around AI is quite exciting. It's quite mature, but also there's a lot of new players and a lot of R&D happening in the space. So the space is evolving at a fast rate. Many of you would have seen DeepSeek in the past few weeks upsetting people's assumptions around the current AI models. And that's something that we shall perhaps see more and more of as time goes by. So moving on, back to Slido. How are you guys using AI? How are you using AI today? Anybody who is there right now? How are you using AI in your business today? Okay, you can just tell us what you're using AI for. You may not, you don't have to tell us your name. How are you using AI in your business today? Okay, writing reports. I agree with writing reports. Programming errors. All right. To beef up communications. Okay, that's interesting. Generating templates, guidance, quality, assurance, fraud detection. I like that. All right. That's 5 people so far. Anybody else? Personally, I like using AI for generating scenarios. So I tell it what I want to do, and I ask it to walk me through a scenario, and I find that it's a good reasoning partner, critical evaluating my ideas and business ideas. So one interesting quote that I read when I was checking out some information was from the CEO of Microsoft, Satya Nadella. He said, AI is for him, he thinks with AI. So he goes to the AI to ask it about what it thinks about a certain idea. So he shares his thoughts with AI, and then he works with his coworkers. So previously, you'd look for somebody and you bounce your thoughts off them and ask them, okay, what do you think about this? How can I go about this? So for him, his use case was really people are going to end up spending time thinking with AI, and then you do the normal work that you have to do with your team members, the collaboration and etc. But before you come to them with a draft or with a way forward, you have taken it through a thought process with the AI, and it has allowed you to benefit from its thinking. Now that's interesting because we are now shifting a thinking burden to AI. So you see how the trend is, and you find that for most people, it's going to be about something that is tedious, like reports, or something that you really want to be sure about, like the quality of your communication. How do you come across as a professional when you put out a report or put out an email or put out a couple of ideas? So those things that take time, those things that you could pack in your tray for maybe 2 days as you think about redraft and change and adjust before you send it out to your colleagues or to your clients. Those things could be an area where many people are finding that AI is helpful and continues to be helpful. So it's quite interesting. Thank you for sharing what you use AI for today. So these are a few trends, but I think the idea is that AI generally, in terms of R&D, is going to remain very strong as an area of focus. So a lot of money is going into R&D, for example, AI R&D. For example, in 2022, the R&D spending on the automotive industry was lower than what companies spent on AI. So the research that goes into new cars took less money than the research that goes into newer AI models. And if you want to focus on a country, if we agree that Germany as a country is great at technology and innovation, AI expenditure, AI R&D expenditure in 2022 surpassed what Germany spends as an entire economy in doing R&D. So that basically shows what the future is going to be like. Investors and governments and individuals are looking at AI as a new frontier. So those who speculate that things are going to get better, there's going to be value, you're going to be seeing people buying into AI companies, or if an AI model is released and it upsets competitors, that company then attracts capital. Maybe the share price will go up and more people will buy in and the capitalization goes up. So it's quite exciting. If you look at the NVIDIA stock price or their market capitalization, it's shot up because they are doing what we call selling shovels in a gold rush. When people are going into an area to mine gold and you're selling the equipment that is required to mine gold, then you're going to make so much money. Whether the speculators find gold or not, it's not your problem. They'll have bought your equipment, they'll have bought your tech, and they'll go in there trying to figure out how they can make money in the market. So the R&D as well as the associated technology around AI is going to be explosively growing. And I think that's an opportunity for those who are investing, those who are betting on AI as a transformational technology, but also those who want more out of AI. We're going to see more value and more benefits coming out of AI tech as it's developed and refined and taken to the next level. So I'll stop there. I'm not an investment analyst. I'm just a spectator, not even a speculator. So, but those are the trends. So let's move on to the key opportunities. So the key question, I think, for any person in business is, why is this thing important? What's the benefit? I mean, you don't do anything if there's no benefit. Businesses don't exist to try out ideas. They exist to pursue value. And they will try out ideas, but those ideas must have value. They must have promise of value, or they must be aligned with your current goals and strategies. So AI typically offers a number of benefits and value. And I'd say one of the key areas is efficiency and automation. The knowledge workers in the room will agree that you can do more when you have your coworker or your favorite coworker called ChatGPT or DeepSeek, if you want to open it up to many other types of coworkers. But the coworker called ChatGPT is the colleague of the year, because you can then be more efficient. You can your knowledge work, your reports, analysis, and thinking about ideas in a structured way, I think benefit a lot from that. Then we have opportunity for automation. There is now a trend around AI agents creating workflows and allowing the AI to go in, read a document, and process it and trigger off 2 or 3 actions independently. Some people run these AI agents autonomously. Others work with them side by side. You're programming and the AI agent is supporting you in writing the code and delivering the final product before you sign off or before you approve. Then you have opportunities for doing more in customer experience and personalization, because AI can process huge amounts of data quickly and give you an almost human-like feedback, or even better than humans, because sometimes human beings sound tired, they sound upset, or they get irritated. In a customer experience scenario, I think AI is going to have a lot of value to shave off the negative attributes of human beings and maybe allow human beings to stay where they don't dilute the customer experience. So think of call centers, think of chatbots, think of automated activities that you want to get done at the right time in a way that ensures that the client feels individually identified or individually valued and known by your business. That's one great opportunity. Fraud prevention and risk management. This is an area where a lot of us are invested. Personally, I'm in cybersecurity and information systems. And so everybody wants to see how do we use AI to beat the fraudsters and learn patterns that can tell us whether transactions are fraudulent or not. So there's a lot of opportunity to go into AI models and train them around that. Decision making and business intelligence, that has been a traditional area around data analytics, but then it's being expanded with AI. And then new business models or new things that we never thought were possible. I think that's going to be also an area where AI can help. So allow me to speak to the risks, and then perhaps we bring it to a close. So I think one of the key risks that we have around AI is going to be the strategic risk of missing the bus or missing the opportunity. Many times people are worried about losing jobs, which is a valid question or a valid concern. But I think on the other hand, there's a huge risk that we shall not allow AI to give us maximum value, especially in areas which have been traditionally highly regulated. For example, in government or public sector settings, in healthcare, in transportation, in education, there's going to be a lot of great things that AI can do, but then the way human beings appreciate some of these sectors and the kind of regulation and controls and policies around that govern some of these sectors are going to be a stumbling block, and we might miss some countries or some organizations or some sectors will miss the opportunity. So there's a strategic risk there that you might be thinking about AI using the wrong lens and you end up missing the bus. Then the implementation barriers, I think those are straightforward. There's always going to be cost and skills gap issues and, budget and resourcing. You just cannot afford it in some cases. And so you end up using the freemium version or don't even have enough access to any AI which is meaningful. Then there's the issue of data privacy and intellectual property. If you're chatting with OpenAI every day or an LLM every day, it could be DeepSeek or whichever one you prefer, you're basically telling it about your life at work and at home. And if everybody in your company is using ChatGPT or any other AI tool and they're uploading the information, then you start to have a privacy concern, an information security concern, a data leakage concern. There's always that example of the engineers at Samsung who were interacting with ChatGPT to figure out how to fix an issue with a new circuit design. And it helped them, but the problem was that they had revealed to it intellectual property that belonged to Samsung and could be used by their competitors to beat them at what they do best. So that's a key area. So every organization has to think about your privacy and how much intellectual property you're giving away. Then regulation and geopolitics, those are straightforward. But I think one of the key things that we maybe have not thought so well about is the ethics part of it. How much power, how much autonomy are we giving AI systems, and how do they then behave? And is that aligned with our expectations as a society? Are they fair? Are they transparent? Are they able to consistently align with our social expectations, the rules and the values that we have as human beings. And if we are replacing human beings with the AI in certain processes, is the AI able to continue to uphold the values that we have as society? So those are key questions to ask yourself. And I mean, there's no straightforward prescription. I think every organization or every business or everybody must ask this question and try to figure out what it really means. All right, so I think as we go into the end, personally, I would say we need to embrace AI as a strategic opportunity, meaning that think about it from outside your business and then look at what value it can bring, but also weigh the opportunities and the risks and try to figure out a plan that can then allow your business to embrace AI and make the most out of it while mitigating the risks around it. It's a strategic opportunity, and any organization that seizes it will be able to gain a lot of value. So some questions you could ask: do you have an AI strategy? Do you have resources allocated for AI? Many organizations have a strategy, but they may not exactly have resources allocated. Are there policies and guidelines around the use of AI? If you know that everybody in your organization is using ChatGPT from 8 to 5 to do office work, is there guidance around what you can do on ChatGPT or what you cannot do? Or this is like a public secret that people use ChatGPT, but it's not allowed. But since the boss uses it and everybody uses it, then it's something that everybody does, but nobody has come out clearly to provide guidance on. Then back to the leadership, I think there's always got to be a sense of urgency, a sense of understanding at the top level. Your leaders as an organization need to be able to appreciate the potential of AI in the industry, not just looking at it as ChatGPT or any other commercial or retail end user type of tool, but being able to spend time understanding how AI is shaping the industry and also use that to determine strategy, policy, resource allocation, and the direction. Then the last one is important. Are people trained to use AI? Many of us are self-taught AI users. We go in and ask the GPT some questions and it gives us some answers. And then somebody says, if you want a report, use this one. If you want to analyze your Excel, use this one. If you want to do coding, so you have 5 tools and there's a tool for each scenario. So, but the question is there formal training from an HR perspective? Are you providing the right tools so that you give people a way into AI and you have an investment that's meaningful and then expect that they will do great because they have been empowered? All right, I'll have to stop there, but thank you so much. I'll then now invite any questions that we may have. And over to you, Baron.
Thank you dearly, Bernard. I do have, while we get some questions in the chat, I would like to share one that we have in the chat from Janet Mutiaba. And the question is, how can we incorporate AI in our systems for business? I think Janet would have to unmute and ask that question a bit more clearly such that you could zone in on it. So Janet, are you able to? Sounds like not, but the question is, how can we incorporate AI in our systems, in our business systems? I find the question a bit broad. That's why I hoped that she would expound. What do you think about it, Bernard, before I inquire the next question?
Thank you, Baron. Janet, thank you for the question. I believe for me, the idea is think about it strategically, meaning that every business is unique, has context. So if there's something that you're doing and you feel that there's an opportunity in AI, it's important to have I'd say, a meeting with your colleagues, with your team members, and just try to figure out if you have a good idea and you put it on the table and say, how do we open up this great idea and open up this value? So you may have to formalize the use cases and say, okay, in this kind of process, before you send this email, you can pass it through the AI tool and let it, figure out the tone of the communication and the accuracy of things and etc. before you, for example, if you have, there are organizations that do research or depend on research. So if you have to read 5 to 10 research papers, and that's what you use to arrive at a decision or a policy position, you might find that an AI tool that can allow you to query all those research papers at once and give you the context that helps you then finally arrive at a certain conclusion, that AI tool would be great. So formalizing the tools and the AI use cases, bringing them on the table and making them part of your formal process, I think that's going to be how I would recommend that you do it. Because today, most AI tools are being used at an individual level. So one smart person has good experience with AI and they're using it, and maybe their neighbor is not so great at AI tools, and then they also try to use it. So you have mixed results, but also there are risks that come out of there because some people are using AI models which are not well trained, or they give false information. So there's got to be formalization, and as an organization, you've got to have a plan, a strategy, an approach that you have agreed on for AI, and then you empower your people through training and continuously evaluate if there are better tools or if there are better ways of doing things, and if the AI tools are giving you value. So formalization, strategy, continuous evaluation, training, empowerment, those are the ways you could try to use AI better in your organization.
Thank you, Bernard. That was clearly explained, because we have different types of companies and different fields they are in. And to do with that as well, there is the question of there are two questions here. What is the biggest myth that businesses still believe about AI today? And the second is AI leveling the playing field for startups, or is it actually making bigger companies even stronger, especially with us having more smaller companies in Uganda than bigger companies?
Biggest myths?
Yes.
Well, that's an interesting question, but I would think that what comes to mind is that many organizations might imagine that AI is only good enough for the individual employee, and maybe it cannot be used at a corporate level or company-wide level. So the example I gave of a research-based organization where you have to read a lot of prior research, scientific papers before coming up with a policy position, that organization may have one or two people who have figured out how to use an AI tool to read those PDFs. But if then you have a localization of that technology and say we bring it in-house and we have our own GPT and all our research reports, you could have research reports for 10 years and feed them into that AI locally in the organization within the company, then you have your internal GPT that knows about all your research, and you can ask it questions about the research that you did 2 years ago, which featured a study of 50 school-going children who were found to be exhibiting certain symptoms or certain behaviors. You can then start to chat with your own data. All the data that you've collected and you have accumulated in the organization can start to be unlocked, as opposed to thinking about it as something that only one person can do individually on one tab on their computer, and maybe they're not so sure if it is allowed to do work that way, but somehow they're doing it in secret or they're doing it under the radar. So organizations should stop thinking that AI is only applicable, only useful for individual employee interactions. It can actually do a lot for a whole company scenario and help the whole organization to leverage its knowledge assets and become better at what it does.
Absolutely. I fully agree with that. In my own experience, I've seen that companies, especially government organizations, since they want to keep certain information internal, they've created their own GPTs where they query, they inquire, their information stays there much longer than, for example, ChatGPT, where after a bit of time, it will not remember what your information was. I would like to open the floor up to anybody who would like to ask their question. I see Daniel Wambi has a question in the chat, as well as somebody named P. If we could just have one person say something, inquiring from their question, all you have to do is unmute, and then I will unmute and preferably turn on your video such that we can get to see your face as well.
Hello, Aaron. Can you see me? Can you hear me?
Yes, Edward, I can both see and hear you.
Great. Bernard, thanks for the presentation. Really enjoyed it.
Welcome, Edward.
And it was indeed insightful. My question, though, is with the AI changing so rapidly and the senior management not having both the resources, especially in terms of time, to keep up the pace, how would you recommend what tools or what trainings or webinars that you could recommend that these people can take up such that they bring themselves up to speed? Because this is a question I get a lot, especially from senior management team and probably the board members. Thank you.
Thank you, Edward. It's a good question. My thinking quickly would be that many organizations have, and this is not to recommend a specific vendor, but I'll take the example of Microsoft. Most organizations today of a certain size have subscriptions for Microsoft 365, the cloud, email, and productivity suite. So that comes with AI tools, large language models, and the Copilot, and all the other type of tools. So one of the things that an organization can do is to say, today we're spending this amount of money on this software as a service. If there's an AI component to it, that's already integrated in our productivity tools. So in your Teams, in your email, in your file sharing, there's an AI tool in the sidebar. So that means that you are already subscribing to an AI technology by virtue of you being on the main service. So you could then now say, okay, what do we do from a training perspective? End users, employees who are doing their day-to-day work need to be trained and empowered to use that Copilot, for example. So there's free trainings or free knowledge around how to operationalize those tools, and most of the time it's intuitive, in the sense that if you've been using the main interface, the AI is designed just to plug in and to be part of what you're doing. You don't have to open up a new window or start doing something afresh. So the training, the learning curve could be quite, easy, and you might have an opportunity that's already sitting on, and you just have not unlocked because you have the subscription, you have the technology, and your people are already using the tools, and it's just making the connection. So that's one opportunity. But secondly, I think now then, coming from the top leadership, leadership needs to assess itself and say, how strong are we on understanding AI, and what can we then do to be empowered to know about what AI can do for this business of ours in this sector, and then be able to push it down to the rest of the employees in the organization through guidance and through direction. That then means that people at the lower levels, lower ranks, who do the day-to-day work, who are on the front line, are then empowered with the tools, with the resources, with the knowledge and the sense of direction to use AI to improve company operations. So many organizations are already there. You already have one or two tools that you're already using or you're already paying for. The question is polishing up skills at the employee level, but also having the vision that's coming from the leadership level being streamlined to allow you to make better use of the AI. So that's one example I could think of. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Bernard. I see that we are getting a trend of more hands showing up now with our time being fast spent. So I will just give an opportunity. Hopefully you both can, and this would be likely our last interactions with the audience. Hopefully you both can turn on your videos. We have China, Viola, and Perry. In the case that you can't turn on your video, please feel free to unmute and say something. Yes, China.
Okay, since you have told us if we can't turn on our videos, let me use the audio. Yes, thank you so much for the presentation, Bernard. That was really amazing. My question goes in regards to the best what tools, what AI tools do you recommend mostly for studies, because nowadays when you're given research work to do here and there, for some of us who are having some studies which are in some advanced countries, you're given some research work to do and you go onto these chat GPTs and do it from there. At the end of the day, they're going to detect and they're going to let you know that your work is, it is from chat GPT. So which tools would you recommend for students literally?
Okay, thank you, China.
Okay. I would like to request, Bernard, that we get Perry's question as well, and then we can answer them together, along with one that Janet has posted in the chat you could take a look at.
All right.
Perry?
Yes, thank you, Baron. But Bernard, thank you very much for the presentation. Mine is not a question, but more of just to contribute to add on your voice on what you on some of the responses that you've been giving and also on your presentation. So firstly, yes, there's a lot of focus about tools, but one key thing that we have to be mindful of is that AI thrives in an environment where there's data, and the data the data has to be good quality data, right? So that's one area that as business owners we need to be mindful and we need to think about as well, because without good data, it's going to be more of garbage in, garbage out, right? So as we think about the tools, let's also think about the data. So are we collecting data? Are we making sure that this data is stored in a meaningful way? Okay. Then secondly, Bernard also mentioned something very important about the subscription on Microsoft. So there are very many tools in there, and businesses are paying for these subscriptions. But there are tools, for example, like Power BI, which is a Microsoft tool that helps you visualize data, do all this stuff. There are things like Power Apps, there's Power Automate, and these are productivity tools that can make your businesses thrive. Even before we start thinking about artificial intelligence, ChatGPT, how can you make use of the data that you have in terms of, making sense of it? So yes, that is what I thought I could share with you. Bernard, thank you so much for sharing.
Thank you, Perry. Perry is an expert in data, former colleague, but he now specializes in data. Thank you so much for that insight. All right, so I'll start with China. China, I think personally I would recommend that we don't use ChatGPT to write the essay, but I think we can now have an opportunity to reason with the GPT or the large language model. So instead of asking it to do for you an essay on a certain topic with a certain number of words and a certain number of key references and all that, I think that would be misusing the GPT, because then somebody is going to come up and say, you know what, you cheated on this essay because 99% of it is AI generated, even if you click that button which says humanize the output and make it look like somebody, a human being. The tone was from somebody based in East Africa. It might still remain AI generated. What I would do is to ask the AI to open up some perspectives or some interesting ideas in that particular subject. So ask it about an area and say, what are the corner cases, for example, in this type of area? There's a generally accepted theory around things, but what are those corner theories which people maybe don't take seriously, or people have forgotten about, or they apply to maybe 15% of the population and they are not the majority assumption. So being able to reason with the AI and ask it to bring out unique perspectives or unique unknown or uncommon perspectives will allow you to get enrichment from the AI, as opposed to just making it write out the whole thing for you, because it will use an efficiency algorithm, so it will quickly go to the fastest route and give you something which will be flagged. So spend time with the AI. You have your own draft, you have your own idea, which means you are the student and you are the one who owns the essay or the report. But then you are going to have to ask the AI to help you uncover some things that you may not exactly know or may not have considered. So go through a sort of thinking process, and maybe the question now is, you may need to train yourself on how to reason with the AI tools. And you
Bernard,
may find
you seem
that...
to have lost your audio.
Okay, am I still on?
I can
Perfect,
hear
you're
you.
back now.
Okay, so China, you are going to have to find a tutorial on how to reason with the AI tools. And that's when you'll get maximum value, and you will not be caught with the AI detector. I think that's a skill. Prompting AI chatbots or LLMs is a skill. Most of us ask basic questions and we get basic answers. There's value in going deeper with your prompts and reasoning, having a chain of reasoning, which will then allow the AI to go deeper and also give you better quality information. All right, Janet has a tour company, Tours and Travel. How is it going to help us? I'm not in tours and travels. So the first thing I'll say is that you have to tell the AI what you want, because you understand your business and you are the one who knows what the business does and what you want out of the business. Now, a scenario I would give, for example, is you could give it your typical itinerary that you sell to your clients and ask it to enhance that itinerary with some of the activities that you could add on to make your offering even more exciting. Or you could even ask it to help you with a set of feedback questions that will allow clients to tell you the truth or give you a better idea of how well you're doing when it comes to customer experience. And if you got those responses, you could still give them back to the AI and ask it, out of all these 50 responses that our previous clients have given us, what are the insights? What is coming out strongly? What are the top 3 areas of improvements? And you'll have the AI doing a great job at telling you what it thinks out of the data. It can quickly process that data and give you, point you to the top 3 areas where you can improve. So when you have a lot of data operations going back maybe 5-10 years, a lot of interactions with customers, you can give this data to the AI and it can give you back insights around improvement, around trends, around why things are not performing the way you want or how you can improve. But then the other question is, we've always got to be careful about privacy. So when you are chatting with the AI, you have to have limits on how much personal and private, personal identifiable information you're giving it. So don't simply give it the AI because you give it all the information because you think it's a good AI. It helps you a lot. There's got to be data privacy thinking, risk management before you provide any AI tool or any online tool with any information, because you're going to get in trouble and it's going to be a big issue, bigger than the issue you're trying to fix. So learn to reason with the AI, learn how to upload anonymous data, remove customer details or rename the customers, remove their contact details, and allow the AI to look at the data and give you feedback on different questions you might have around your business operations. That's what I can say.
Thank you so much, Bernard. I seem to feel that the audience is highly satisfied by the answers and by the engagement because of how long we've stretched the Q&A as well. So everybody gets a chance to really hone in and zone in on what we're talking about. With that being said, I would like to call the question and answer session to a close and share with you a bit more about this session. First off, thank you for engaging with the questions and your participation. It's been an inspiring discussion, and we hope that you've gained valuable insights that you'll apply in your business and your business strategies. Allow me to share with you a bit more about Global Edge Leaders. At Global Edge Leaders, we take pride in delivering workshops that stand out, including webinars such as what we have just witnessed today. And what makes our workshops different is that you combine the best of both worlds. That's a mouthful. Immersive, hands-on sessions together with the practical bits of it. And we usually have our sessions every Saturday at 9 a.m. at BMK Hotel Africana. And what you can do to find out more information about this is going to our website, which is www.globaledgeleaders.com. You'll be able to find programs that are Coursera-like, except they have the physical element of interaction. We meet and then we discuss the programs while we have the programs on the website as well in the Coursera fashion. The next thing I would like to share with you all is we have another upcoming webinar this week, and that will be on Friday at 11 a.m. And it will be specifically about the power of personal branding. Happening once again on Friday, 28th at 11 a.m. We'll teach you, train you, and talk about how to build a compelling personal brand and how to elevate your professional presence. So you can register for that on our website. With that being said, I would like to thank you, Mr. Bernard Wanyama, for the engaging session. And to everybody in the audience, please follow up with Mr. Bernard on LinkedIn. I'm sure that is your preferred platform of networking. So yes, please follow him up on LinkedIn such that if you have any other questions, any other interactions, or any other engagements that you would like to involve him in, he can be able to consider and be a part of that. With that being said, thank you so much, everybody. We look forward to seeing you on Friday and seeing you on Saturday during our sessions. Thank you once again. I request
Thank
for
you,
the
everybody.
recording to end.